So scenes after the credits of films is nothing new, but the MCU has kind of made it into a staple of their movies. Yes, other superhero movies do it too, but no one does it quite like Marvel. And some of these scenes are better than others, so today I thought I'd go through all of them and rank them subjectively from worst to best. Also, I won't be including the credit scenes from Black Panther here, cause some people may not have seen that film yet, but those scenes wouldn't be super high on the list, cause they didn't exactly blow me away. So, spoilers for the end credits of every other MCU film so far, and really just spoilers for all the MCU films. Alright, now that you've been warned, let's get into it. Okay, kicking it off with the worst, we've got Thor the Dark World, where Thor comes back to Earth, kisses Jane, and then there's a frost giant monster thing running around. What was the point? There really wasn't one. We already knew Thor was coming back. It wasn't really funny or informative, and kinda just feels like they forgot they needed an extra scene, so they just filmed this and tagged it on. Only interesting thing about this is that that's not actually Natalie Portman. It's Chris Hemsworth's wife dressed up like Natalie Portman, and even that's not that interesting. Okay, the next two I'm grouping together as the footage from the next movie ones. In Ant-Man, we got a little clip of Cap and Falcon talking, and Falcon's like, I know a guy, which is from Civil War. And then in Captain America the First Avenger, Cap talks to Fury, and then literally just a trailer for the Avengers plays. Not awful teases, but the fact that they're literally just scenes from the next film feels kinda cheap. You may say it's not important and I'm overanalyzing these. To that I say, touche. But hey, that's the whole point of this video. Next up, Winter Soldier. We see Bucky going to the Smithsonian, I think, to learn more about his past. I mean, it's fine, but really it's just something we already knew. Yeah, he's gonna discover more about himself. Okay, I've got Iron Man 3 next. Being the first MCU movie after the Avengers, this whole film was kinda plagued by questions like, if the President of the United States is kidnapped by fire-breathing terrorists, shouldn't like Captain America or S.H.I.E.L.D. be all over that? But nope, no Avengers show up until the end of the credits, when it's revealed that that classic Shane Black narration from the start of the film was actually Tony talking to Bruce Banner in a counseling session. It's kinda funny, just nothing that exciting, and this is really just kinda from that weird phase where I don't think Marvel knew exactly what it wanted to do in terms of teaming up heroes post-Avengers. Next one is the Spider-Man scene from the end of Civil War. Nothing much to say here because it's sorta just, hey, Spidey's coming back soon, and he's gonna have cool new tech. And in a small way, that scene is kind of undercut because it's showing off this amazing suit, which ultimately the whole message of Spidey's own film was he had to be more than that. So you know, it's here in the ranking. Then there's the first one from Thor Ragnarok, which a lot of people might have thought would be higher, but the thing is, while it's kind of a cool tie into Infinity War, since I assume that's where that movie's gonna start, it's not insanely clear what this ship is initially. Like, I get that the point of it is that it's an ominous threat coming for Thor and Loki, and in the cinema, I was like, yeah, odds are that's probably Thanos, but, and correct me if I'm wrong, we've never seen Thanos use that ship before. So when I was sitting in the cinema, I was like, that's probably Thanos, but the fact that I'm not 100% sure makes me think maybe it isn't. Turns out it was, but that just ended up not being as great of a reveal as I think it was intended to be. Next, I've got one of the many mid-credit scenes from Guardians 2, this one being the Stan Lee Watcher Informant thing. That is one of my favorite Stan Lee cameos, since it pokes fun at the popular fan theory that he is the Watcher.
Anyway, before I was so rudely interrupted, at that time, I was a Federal Express man.
Also, I still stand by that he's referring to that time he was the mailman Willie Lumpkin in the Fantastic Four film and not in Civil War, because technically this movie takes place before Civil War, and oh my god, why am I looking so much into this? Anyway, it's a funny joke, but by the time it gets to the end here, it had kind of worn out a bit. Still, I do enjoy the idea that the Watchers have already gotten tired of hearing Stan Lee's endless stories. The Incredible Hulk is easily my least favorite MCU film. The end credits scene, though, is kinda cool. It's Tony Stark showing up and talking to General Ross. Back in 2008, it was a good way of showing people that these films are connected. And later on, fun fact, it was retconned to be part of a Marvel one-shot, where Tony is sent to S.H.I.E.L.D. to go be as obnoxious to Ross as possible, so he won't put the Abomination on the Avengers team. It also sets up a lifelong feud between Tony and Ross, I guess.
Tony, we have a problem.
Please hold.
No, don't.
Then there's another Guardians 2 one. This one in my notes I just titled Stallone Team. It's Stallone's Ravager character, whose name I refuse to remember or attempt to pronounce, getting his crew back together to go have crazy space adventures, probably in Guardians 3. Among his team is Lex Luthor, Marcellus Wallace, and Miley Cyrus, for some reason. So yeah, I expect to see more of these people in the near future in the MCU. Next up, Doctor Strange, specifically the Thor one. Now again, don't love it when just a scene is taken from one film and put at the end of the credits of another, but this one was pretty great. I mean, seeing Doctor Strange coming into the real Avengers world is fun, plus we see that Loki and Odin are also involved. My only big problem with this is that it sort of spoils Doctor Strange's cameo in Ragnarok. Like, if you went into Ragnarok having not seen this, and they hadn't put it in some TV spot, which they really didn't need to, that would have been such an awesome and pleasant surprise. So that's why this isn't super high on the list. Alright, then there was Age of Ultron, where Thanos just shows up and grabs the Infinity Gauntlet. One of the main things I like about this is that I called it in one of my earlier videos, so that's kind of amazing. If I can find out which one it was, I'll put a clip here. If not, you're just gonna have to believe me.
I'm guessing Thanos is gonna get his hands on it in an end credit scene before Infinity War.
Besides that, yeah, it's okay. It showed us that Thanos has the gauntlet and that he's coming for Earth in 3 years. But it did also feel a bit like another thing that was repeated from the first film, which the rest of Age of Ultron also kinda had. We've got 2 Thor ones next. Thor 1 showed us the first of many Loki death fakeouts, revealing Loki's still alive and coming for that Tesseract. Cool, he's one of the best MCU villains. And then Thor 2 gave us our first glimpse into the Guardians of the Galaxy world, with the Collector showing up. I remember hearing something about the director of Thor 2 being mad about the scene, because it was directed by James Gunn and not him, and then they just shoved it into his film. I mean, I couldn't tell it was directed by James Gunn. It was also kind of fun, since it's one of the few times we've seen the Avengers world and the Guardians world crossing over. Alright, next are 2 that aren't very important, like to the continuity of the universe, but they just genuinely made me laugh. Guardians 2 with Kraglin trying out Yondu Zero. And Thor Ragnarok when Jeff Goldblum is surrounded by the people of Sakaar. Both got a laugh out of me, plus Jeff Goldblum might be the funniest part of Thor Ragnarok, so seeing just a little bit more of him was very welcome. Another Guardians 2 one, the Gold People create Adam Warlock, who presumably is going to fight the Guardians in the 3rd film. It's a fun tease, but having not read a ton of Adam Warlock comics, or just Marvel comics in general, I don't know a ton about him, so this didn't hit me as it might someone who's been reading these for years. Doctor Strange, Mordo goes to this guy, and he's all like, I'm evil now. Sure, why not? Still waiting on that Doctor Strange sequel. I'd love to see more of that style of action. Ant-Man, Hank gives Hope the Wasp suit. I mostly like this, cause I'm just really looking forward to seeing Ant-Man and the Wasp teaming up in July. Don't love the suit's design, but hey, so far it looks like it's gonna be pretty great in the action. Another Civil War one here, this being the Black Panther one. This would have been a bit lower on the list if I hadn't actually seen Black Panther. Seeing it in the cinema, yeah, alright, the Wakandans have Bucky and there's a giant panther. That's pretty neat. But T'Challa's line,
let them drive.
Once you've actually seen everything that Wakanda has, and all the tech and the weaponry and whatnot, it makes it way cooler. I guess that's kinda cheating, but whatever. This is my video, and I'm saying that's a legitimate reason. Now a little break from all this recent stuff, and back to Phase 1 with Iron Man 2. In case you forgot, here we see Phil Coulson arriving in New Mexico to discover Thor's hammer. Look, I'm not sure if when Iron Man 2 came out, people knew the next film would be Thor. If they didn't, then this would be a really awesome reveal for Marvel fans. If they did, well, it's still a pretty fun tease. Captain America the Winter Soldier had an okay scene, but also had another one that was a lot cooler. This was the first time we were introduced to the Maximoff twins, who have gone on to do great things. Regardless, it was fun to see 2 new superheroes with interesting superpowers introduced to the MCU, some of those powers being more vague than others. Also, it showed us that Hydra has Loki's scepter, somehow, because of some guy infiltrating some base in some spin-off comic. Look, it's a solid scene. Another Guardians 2 one, if you forgot, yes, Guardians 2 had 5 end credit scenes. Anyway, the best of them, I think, is Teen Groot. Not only is it funny, but it also introduced us to the version of Groot we'll be seeing more in the next film. And I just really enjoyed the Groot dynamic of him always being a different age, and really a different character from film to film. Looking forward to seeing what he's like next. Also, for the nerds in the audience, like myself, it shows how Guardians 2 actually takes place in 2014, and that going into Avengers 3, the Guardians have been going on adventures for several years now, which adds some more to the team. Okay, I'm gonna put the first Spider-Man Homecoming one next, which kinda surprised me because I thought it was just pretty standard when I first saw it. But rewatching the whole film again and then seeing that scene, it's pretty great. Firstly, it sets up a future potential villain who actually seems kinda terrifying, and that guy from Better Call Saul, but more importantly, it shows ultimately that the Vulture, one of the best villains in the entire MCU, gets somewhat redeemed. This shows pretty well one of the main reasons why the Vulture was such an awesome villain. He wasn't some demented psychopath who wanted to destroy the world. He was a normal guy who ran a shady business who wouldn't let anyone mess with it. And once he realizes Peter actually saved his life, he does the right thing and doesn't give him up. It's just a nice conclusion to a great character in that film. Plus, it means there's a chance we'll see him pop up again. So that's exciting. These next two, I'm gonna group into a category called Marvel's F*** you end credit scenes. First up, also from Homecoming, there's Captain America basically making fun of the audience for staying through the credits. And then, arguably the worst Marvel movie character of all time, Howard the Duck, showing up at the end of the first Guardians, when everyone was expecting an Avengers 2 tease. After all these films and all these fun setups, yeah, sometimes the funniest ones are the ones that are the most intentionally underwhelming. The number 3 and number 2 spots, I gotta give it to the Avengers scenes. I'm gonna put the shawarma one first. It's super funny, and kinda like the last two, part of what makes it great is that you wait a long time, and then it's just the most underwhelming thing. Plus, the Avengers seem pretty underwhelmed by the shawarma as well. And then the Thanos one. Now look, on the surface, it's not super different from the other standard next movie setups, but looking at it now, 6 years later, it's pretty awesome that they set up the big bad of this universe that was going to be at the culmination way back. So he was already kind of in people's minds back then. Seeing the Avengers take him on now, after so many years, that makes that scene pretty cool. Also, for fans of the comics, it must have been crazy. Sure, that isn't Josh Brolin, but hey, he looks like a big raisin, it's close enough. And the best one, you all saw it coming, but in this case, the first was the best. Iron Man, with Samuel L. Jackson showing up as Nick Fury, and talking about the Avengers. Look, this was pretty cool for me to see all these years later, knowing what comes after with the Avengers and the MCU and everything, and it would have been high up on my list anyway, but the main thing that pushes this to the top is thinking, for the people who saw this in 2008, again, especially people who were fans of the comics, which back then, for these characters, I'm pretty sure wasn't as big as today, seeing the promise of these characters coming together, and then watching it all unfold over the next several years, must have been the coolest thing in the world. And honestly, I kinda wish I'd been able to experience that. Also, Sam Jackson as Nick Fury, perfect casting. Especially since, I believe, they actually designed him in the Ultimate Comics based on Jackson. So yeah, I know it's a cliche choice, but what can I say? I think it's the best. So those were my thoughts on the MCU end credit scenes. What did you think of my list? Let me know all of your thoughts down below in the comments. While you're at it, be sure to like this video, check out my Instagram and Twitter at BHL_Hudson, check out this podcast about movies and TV and whatnot I do every other week with a friend of mine, it's called the Poorly Planned Podcast, and subscribe for more videos like the one you just watched. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.